Welcome, welcome to Think About It Using Common Sense. There is so much going on in the news today, hardly know where to start, but I guess we'll start with the Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court decision. And when you're talking about government taking control or making decisions in people's lives, personal decisions, bedroom decisions that should be between uh, the husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, and their God. Um, Roe versus Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court. And from what I understand, there were some Supreme Court judges at the time of their nomination was asked the question of whether or not they would vote to overturn Roe versus Wade. And if I'm correct, they said they would not. But in this vote that just happened recently, they voted to overturn it. So I've always said that Supreme Court judges, that word supreme, these judges sit on the highest court in the country, highest court of the government. And therefore, these judges should be of the highest of integrity, justice, honesty, uh, being able to associate themselves or disassociate themselves from their own beliefs as to what is actually uh, their natural belief. But then at the same time, when I make that type of statement, and I sit down and I ask myself, as I have so often said, how can you separate church and state when what you believe is your way of life? And at the same time, people, uh, these justices or judges are making these decisions, which I feel personally as though they're stepping uh, beyond their duties, but at the same time, elected officials that you vote and put in office, these are the officials that put these people into that position. So even though these judges and politicians are making these decisions that is going to influence or change the life of American people, the people are the ones also that has to uh, take part in the blame for what's happening, because we are letting these people, we are voting these people into office that's making these decisions that's supposed to be uh, in the best interest of the American people, and it's not. And now we're complaining, which we have a right to complain, but these people have to be stopped. They have too much power. And if they're not held to the level of level of degree of potential of what their job calls for, then there should be some kind of way that these people should be able to get voted out of office. Because there's no way that any man-made law should take precedence over what's happening in a relationship or in your body, in your soul, in your being. I think they're overstepping their position here, but at the same time, there's two sides to this thing, and we have to reach a a a happy medium. I'm not talking about as far as the judges are concerned, because I think the judges have no right to make decisions over what a woman should do with her body. Because and when you talk about abortions, is this something that's is not something that's just talked about like a bad apple or something. This is so much more than that. And this is something that I'm sure women bear with their soul too. And it's something that affects a person when you have to do something like that. So it's a moral decision that's between the man, woman, and their God in making decisions. And I don't think the Supreme Court have anything to do with that. Should not. And they should not. And it's even getting to the point now, whereas uh, once we open that door and allow that door to stay open, this is just the beginning. And I think people need to actually stand back and take a look at this and realize the importance of your elections and having the right to vote. And these congressmen, senators, judges, we need to know more about these people, because we're just focusing on the majority of the people on the president's election. People, our lives are getting ready to change. Look at the look at the insurrection. Look at the committee hearings. I mean, I've never seen something so professionally of being held and the information that's being presented. But at the same time, if you're not going to do anything to those that broke the law, then what point is it in having the hearings? You have two sets of, or we have two sets of, actually, we have three sets. We have three sets of laws. We have a set for the poor, don't care anything, they don't even count. The middle class carries the weight, and then you have the rich do anything they want to do, and it's okay. But there's only one truth. There's no 4 or 5 different truths. There's only one direct line to a center point. So we have to realize this and get serious about living, because just as politicians they knew what was taking place in the Capitol on January 6th, they knew, they all knew. Just as these same politicians that knew made fun of Donald Trump when he said he was going to run for president of the United States. They laughed at it. Just as these same politicians they talked about. But once he won, Donald Trump was smart and he played on what he saw that the people was concerned about. His people was concerned about. And they was concerned about a takeover, which would never happen. That's why this is titled, the title of this podcast is Misdirection. People, we are here fighting about one thing: divide and conquer is how you lose, is how they win. We are fighting amongst ourselves. Poor, the middle class, we're fighting amongst ourselves. We talk about inflation. The rich sees no inflation. The poor don't have to worry about inflation because they live in inflation. They have nothing. And it's the middle class that's becoming poor more and more every day as the rich become richer every day. So as long as we sitting here thinking about inflation, whereas in this inflation, guess what? The rich is making money. The oil companies making money. Business people making money. There is no inflation for the rich. And you talk about, oh, we talk about gas prices and the planes is not going to they don't have pilots to fly. Well then guess what? Stay home. Do you have to go out? Do you have to take a vacation? Prices in the supermarket, food, and do you have to eat 3 meals a day? The economy can float on the amount of money that's here. We can live off of. Everybody just have to cut back. If that's the case, we give billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine to help them. And I'm not saying don't help them. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we give billions of dollars for them. Billions of dollars, and that's companies that's manufacturing these weapons that's going to Ukraine. They're making billions of dollars. The money's going somewhere. All these organizations here in this country, they help fight crime. They help fight this, to fight that. Money's going somewhere. People are making money, but you have to be in the position to make that money where the money is going. You know, and I mean Roe versus Wade, I agree 100%. These judges should not be able to tell women what to do with their bodies. But men and women have to start being more responsible. That would that would help considerably. And we have to start thinking about things. Think about the repercussions. We're human, we're supposed to be of higher intelligence. It's time to start being it. Not just in the, don't just use intelligence just in the framework of making money. How about use these intelligence to better your lifestyle as a whole, better the planet, the neighborhoods. It seems like sometimes people care more about money than they do their own life, their own health, their own family, their own children. You know, here's 2022, and the politicians making a big thing about gun control because they came up with something. Oh well, after so many children, so many people have been killed with these automatic weapons. Now these politicians deserve a pat on the back because now all of a sudden they say, well, you're going to take background checks. Nobody should buy a automatic military style weapon uh, unless you're 21 years old or something like that. You need mental checks if you see if you're mentally fit to own a weapon. You mean you're gonna tell me it's gonna take all this time to do that and they get a pat on the back for that? How many lives could have been saved had these laws been put into practice long time ago? You put them in practice now. And see, this is what I'm saying about the war in Ukraine. Now you see how these, I think, two or three laws are being passed, were made. Okay. Why did it take now? All the people's lives that had been lost. Why did it take now? Why couldn't they have did this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago? So, but you did it. If you're not going to do something, you don't do it. But now you're going, all those lives have been lost. Now you're going to come up and do what you should have did. But for the law, it may save, it will save lives in the future. But you could have saved those lives had you did that. And see, the American people have to bear some of the responsibility of all these things that's happening because you're voting these people into office and you're keeping them in office. And they're not doing a good job. They're only doing a good job. They take an oath, which apparently doesn't even mean, because if it meant, look at the oath they took when they was elected to uphold the Constitution of the United States, to serve the American people to the best of their ability. And they all, the GOP, all turned their back on the Bible that they swore, put their hands on to uphold. They turned their back on the American people. And they wanted to holler justice now. Just think about this. I mean, get your head out of the sand. You're hollering justice, but you don't want a committee hearing to get at the truth. And you're down on the Democrats, but it's the Republicans that's testifying. Where's the common sense here? There isn't any. Where is the common sense? That's all I'm saying. We have got to stop. If we want to live in human beings as humans, if we want to bring this country back, if we want to put some trust in our government, and that means trust in the people, our leaders that's running this country, we have got to do it at the ballot box. If you believe in injustice, why would you want to attempt to prevent people from voting? I don't understand. If you want to get at the truth, why not be bipartisan when it comes to the committee hearings? Unless you have something to hide. Donald Trump could have been a good president. He could have been a president that united the American people. But that was not his mission. And he lost. It's simple as that. But because he had so many people supporting him, the other Republicans said, well, hey, look, it ain't about the American people. It's about us and our families having money and power. So hey, look, if we can get in power, what does that matter? We don't know them people anyway. Do we know the people in the ghetto? No. Do we know the middle class working? No. The only people we care about is the people in our state that's voting us into office. That's all. That's not the oath they took. That's not the oath they took. I mean, I respect everybody. You can have your opinions. Everybody can have their opinions. Okay? But that's your opinion. You understand? You're entitled to that. But in an election, the majority rules. So that means if the majority wins, if Joe Biden had the majority of the votes, that means everybody get behind Joe Biden. That's what it means. Majority rules, the majority wins. That's what it means. Doesn't mean that the majority win and all of a sudden you go through a tantrum. Oh no, this is legal. That's not how it goes. That is the downfall of a nation. That is the downfall of America. And the only way you're going to stop that, to show that this is no longer the way of America, the people that's doing, and this is not me talking. This is not me talking. This is common sense. You have to be held accountable. I don't care who you are. You cannot be allowed to do this. Because trust me, I believe if if Donald Trump had a taken over, because he didn't win the election. So if it's cool or whatever you want to call it, if he had taken over, things would be different. And everybody right now, I don't understand this either. Everybody wants to blame Joe Biden. The man, how long has he been in office? What, 2 years? Almost. How you gonna blame this man for the inflation? How can you blame him for that? What you think the gas, the oil, Putin? I mean, I don't know. But how can you blame Joe Biden for what's happening? No. Mm-mm. That's common sense to me. Common sense, Joe Biden. What the only thing he could do, the people they was holding up the gas, they wasn't pumping all that much gas before he even came into office. This whole thing, this whole mess has a smell to it. Because with all that stimulus money that was given out, it went out to stimulate the economy. Where's the money? Where's the money? And not only that, these Wall Street CEOs are still making record millions and millions of dollars profit. Shareholders just never stop making profit. Oil companies making record profits. But you're not talking about the fact that this planet, we're running short on water, fresh water. We're having droughts all over. If you're having droughts, then the farmers can't produce food like they would normally produce. I don't know what's been there. I read something. I'm not sure of the in Shanghai, somewhere in China, the biggest export port where all the containers are being loaded onto the ships and stuff. I heard a few months ago there was a problem there being held up. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff going on, and we as a people, we need to settle down and express your anger at the ballot box. Express your anger with these senators and congress people who've been in office for 30 and 40 years who done sold out the American people and continue to do so. All these promises, 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 and all this good, sweet talking, man. When I hear it now, I just turn it off. Never can get a straight answer from any of them. Any of them. And the Democrats, you have got to start holding these people accountable. You part of the problem if you don't do something just to expose something to get the people angry, and then you don't do anything. And then when a normal person go out and do the least little thing, he done got locked up and they gave him 10, 20 years in prison for nothing. People steal billions. What do they do? They're too big to go to jail. You pay them off. To go to jail, you get out on pardons and all that kind of crap. It's a big mess. The system is a big mess. These officials. And then finally, you think you have some justice in the Supreme Court, and I'm telling you, what I'm hearing about the Supreme Court is really making me sick. These people have a job to do. These people supposed to be of the highest integrity, and they're not. They're next to criminals, based on what's been coming out. This is not me. I'm only using some common sense based on the truth. Don't sit up here and tell me 2 and 2 is 6. But I believe you if I don't know any mathematics, simple mathematics, I believe it's 20 if I don't know how to count. And it seems like to me, less and less, more and more American people are forgetting how to count because we're all in this boat together. All these earthquakes, man. I don't know. But I mean, and you know something that's never addressed? Never. Of all, how long have we been taking oil out of the earth? Okay. No one can tell me that the oil in the earth was there to use in automobiles, to use in making things that you make out of petroleum, oil. That wasn't the purpose. I don't care what you use it for, but nobody's going to tell me that's the purpose of oil. Now, if you take an oil, you take oil, right? And we put it in an engine to keep the engine cool. How do we know that that oil in the earth is the purpose of it? By being in the Middle East and certain parts of the world, regardless, how do we know it's not there to keep this planet cool? As it be spinning, rotating. How do we know that? How do we know the effects of taking all this oil out of the earth for all these years? I know the earth is huge. For every action, there's a reaction. What about that? Nobody never talks about it. I haven't heard, unless they talk about it, I'm missing it. But there's a reason for it. We do things without thinking. We just jump on things and start doing it because it appears to be good at the moment. You know? I was watching this movie about Chernobyl. That remember we had that not we, but Russia had that mega nuclear explosion. Still unsafe. How many years ago? But you can't get rid of that. You know, you know, this planet, humans, we destroy ourselves, and history has taught us absolutely nothing. Greed, man, greed. Why is it that people do not have to suffer? There's enough wealth that rich people can have all the money they want, and still people do not have to suffer. But yet, why? Why do you feel a need that you have to have all of it? And once people find out about life and what it's about, I don't want that mess. It's a smoke screen. Just being happy, have what you need, just have a nice life, family. I don't need all this. I look at all the food we waste in this country. It's gonna come back to haunt us. And you got people in other countries starving. No medical facilities, medicine, food, clean drinking water, toilets. Don't have. And there's a guy sitting up on the hill with billions and billions of dollars. And these dictators, man. What is wrong? Is something wrong with the mental perception of whatever it is they're trying to perceive? And getting back to what's getting ready to take place with the uh, government being able to dictate what you can do with your life. Uh, there was a movie I watched, maybe I forget how many years ago, maybe it could have been 20 years ago, I don't know. And the title of this movie was called Minority Report. Tom Cruise starred in it, and I think it was a movie. I think Mr. Spielberg. I think he made that movie. It was an incredible, incredible film, and the movie was about pre-crime. And pre-crime was they were saying that it's not in the best interest to arrest the person, put you in jail after you commit the crime. So what they did What the government did, they figured out a way that they could read your mind. Okay? And they would arrest you, put you in jail if you had a thought of committing a crime. Think about that. Now, I would think last year or the year before, I read something in the paper to that effect that that's being considered if it's not already being implemented today. So now you have, just think about this. I didn't understand that. Now you have insurrection on our capital, whereas our own elected officials support and deny our election process and deny our democracy and our constitution. Our elected officials is doing it. And did that. The Supreme Court have just reversed Roe versus Wade, Roe v. Wade. Okay. Now, there was a leak in the Supreme Court prior to the decision of Roe v. Wade that was not, there was a leak in the court, but no one owned it. No one owned up to leaking that information that Roe v. Wade would be overturned. Okay. So that's right there. That's a lie right there in the court. Okay. Now, in the court, there's a Supreme Court judge who's talking about overturning, uh, having some authority over contraceptives, uh, saying something about there should be, there should not be any interracial marriages in the Supreme Court now. I think this is what I'm hearing. Um, and among other things, LGBT, I think he said something about that. Uh, but you're getting into human rights. You're getting into within the soul of humans where you have no right to go. And the American people, we're up in arms, we're fighting each other, and we should all be together on this part of it. Because this is the only way we're going to survive. The only way your children are going to survive. Because what I'm looking at now, what I'm seeing, is just a rich and poor society, the haves and the have-nots. Because in reality, the rich cares nothing about the poor. If they did, none of this stuff would be happening. None. The politician doesn't care. Nothing. None of this would be happening if they did. They only care about the money. And it's time for the American people to wake up. And I mean, you can talk, you can pour water on a duck's back all day long. People, you've got to wake up and realize this is a real life you're living in. It's a real world you're living in. And you have got to stand up and do your part to take it, not just fighting one another. We've got to unite and and really let these politicians know you have to do your job. You have to do your job because they don't feel anything that we're feeling. You got the best fruit, the best meats, the best of everything. Yeah. Go to the supermarket and there to buy fruit, vegetables. You got to kind of pick over the or get, should I say, get the worst of the worst, or get the best of the worst. Yeah. Instead of us working together, we're getting further and further apart. There's no reason. There's no reason for it. It's things that we are doing to ourselves and allowing to happen to ourselves. Real estate, man, I've never seen. I've never seen something go up so fast in my life because people, and this goes with Americans. I mean, I don't care what color you are, Americans. You know, people are coming into this country. They're taking advantage of what you're not taking advantage of. You know, there was a law professor at the University of Penn. People, we have got to stop this, and we've got to realize we live in this on this planet. We live in America. If we divide it, we fighting each other, we tearing up, we doing this, we killing each other. You're not going to have anything at the end of the day. You're going to be out because you have not stopped. By you out here killing and all this fighting, you have not stopped not one nail from being driven into a stud to build a house. Not one. And what I'm seeing in these neighborhoods, that's where some of this fighting and stuff, so-called fighting and stuff, is going on. They're being developed because it's good property, good location. These houses and things are being developed. These roads are being repaved. Buildings are going up. People, this is not being done because they want you to have a nice place to fight and destroy. It's not the case. Better get with it. It's not the case. They're not going to have it. They're not. And they talk about um, guns. There's enough guns. Everybody in this country can have a gun and then some. Okay? You're not going to get rid of guns. Forget about it. And I don't even think about trying. I don't think anyone's trying to get rid of guns. They're just trying to put some kind of control on these guns, so that these people, when they freak out, because they're going to freak out based on the pressure that's being put on them, they're freaking out. You know, they don't want easy access, and you can't blame people for that. But for some reason, these politicians are just coming to, based on the pressure now. This isn't something that politicians just came up and said, oh, well, we want to get this done to protect the children. No, no. People took to the streets. They demanded this from their politicians, which they should not had to do. As if these politicians are a bunch of morons, empty heads, that you have to tell them to do everything, which it seems this is what they are. But if they're getting paid to do what they want to do, hey, they don't have to listen to the American people. And this is what's happening. You know? But what's frightening is guns. When people start carrying guns in holsters now, that everybody can carry a gun now, carry it on your hip, concealed. Okay? So you know what that means. Trigger happy. It's just common sense. You're going to have more people being killed now than ever before. That's right. That's right. That's going to be the result of everybody packing guns. It's true. Fact. Am I saying no pack, don't pack? No, I'm not saying don't pack, but I am saying if everybody's packing, it's gonna be a lot of dead people out here because people will be trigger happy, and if these little crack, man, they're gonna be shooting and killing. And I, as far as I know, all this killing, a lot of this killing and stuff, I mean, who knows? Because people are being programmed with all the technology and stuff going on there and misdirection. We don't know anything anymore. What do we really know? What do we really know is real? What do we really know isn't being um, pre-manufactured for us? It's just like I said, when you put an actor as president of the United States, how do you know when he's not acting? You take a Hollywood actor and put him in the White House. How do you know he's not acting? You don't. You really don't. How can you take someone who has no knowledge of politics, right? Take him out of a casino and put him in the White House, and the next day he's making life and death decisions, telling the military, giving the military strategy and shit on how to perform in a war and what to do. It ain't possible. It's not possible. I don't care what you say. It ain't possible. I'm not stupid. Nah, can't take over anything. This country, the same people own this country that have been owning it for the last 100 years more. They're gonna continue to own it. But my own thing is constructed in a way that everybody can have at least the bare necessities to live. Educate people so they know how to take care of themselves, take care of their communities. Teach these kids how to pick up a broom and sweep and pick up paper and keep the neighborhoods clean. That's all. We live here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And it can't happen. And the important part of these children's lives is when they are being born and when they're young, growing up, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. It's important for these kids to have the proper nourishment at that young age for their brain to grow, their bodies, their bones. It's important. It's hard. It's hard once you get a certain age to go back and try and change it. It can be done, yes. But it's so much easier when you do it at a young age. They can learn faster. Look at these kids. All these kids out here that's smart, these doctors and lawyers. You think they any smarter than your kid? Probably not even as smart. Look at somebody like look at Ted Cruz for example. I'm just taking. I mean, he's a lawyer. Do you think if Ted Cruz can be a lawyer, you think your kid can't be a lawyer? A lot of these kids, you think they can't be a lawyer, and you don't even know if they. I mean, I'm not just I'm just saying. You don't know what your children can do or what you can do unless you do something. You have to do something. You can't be afraid not to do anything. Fear is one of the worst things in the world because you know what? They said lion is the king of beasts. Elephant is larger. Hippopotamus, giraffes, buffaloes. But you know what makes that lion king of beasts? The lack of fear. That sucker will attack anything. I seen that lion go in there, go in the water, and come out with an alligator in his mouth. He'd jump on a bull, two bulls, giraffes. I seen him swing from a tree like a monkey and catch an eagle in the air. That's right. That's right. And you know what? Living is fun when you know who you are and you know what you're capable of, and you out here doing your thing and feeling it and making it click and taking care of your body. You feeling good. Your mind is clear. Your body's full of energy. Whew, man, one of the best feelings in the world. I'm gonna tell you something. Again, I'm gonna tell you something. The best feeling I have ever had in my entire life. It had nothing to do with partying. It had nothing to do with women. It's when I knew within myself I was closest to God. He never best feeling I've had in my entire life. And to this very day, this very moment, I've been living to get that feeling back. I haven't gotten it yet. But you know what? I know I can get it, and that's what keeps me going. That's right. Once you get that, ain't no stopping. Ain't no stopping. That's where all your that's where all your knowledge, that's where all your strength, all your ideas, everything come from. That spiritual knowledge from within, getting in touch with the universe. Go out there in the sun, lay in the sun. You feel that sun coming into your body, you can feel your whole body being energized like a battery, man. I'm telling you, you don't even know what living is about. You just think it's because you go out here and work and do a little this and do a little that. That's living. You're just part of a system. That's, that's it. You know, when you, like I said before, and a lot of stuff that I'm thinking about, I may even do something for TikTok, but I'm working on some things right now that just takes time. But it's so much that we can learn. We as people have not even learned anything. What have you learned? Nothing. You tell me just because you finish school. Okay. Now nothing wrong with school. You need knowledge. You need that knowledge. But that's minimal. You go to school, you get an occupation, you do that for 40, 50 years. You make some money, you do this, you do that. So what? What is that? Think about it. I'm not trying to discourage what you're doing, but you need some purpose, man. You need something to energize you. You want to find out who you are. You want to get into the love of yourself. You want to find out who you are, find out what you're capable of. You want to start taking care of yourself. Then you're going to start feeling something. Right now, you think you're feeling something. You ain't feeling it. Because I don't care, you can't fake this. You can't skip over it. You're dealing with yourself. You can't skip over it. You do it, you can get a touch of it. Oh, I feel so. But you talking about scientists say you only use 10%, 5% of your brain, your mental capacity. What about the other 90%? What about your whole body? You talking about brain in your head? You have brains all over your body. Nervous system. What about it? You have brain. You have nerves in the pit of your stomach. You have nerves in the back of your heart. You have zeal. You have nerves in your medulla oblongata in the back of your neck. You have nerve centers between your eyes. You have nerve centers in the center of your brain. You have nerve centers at the root of your tongue. Power, power. A lot of things we don't understand. You don't understand something. You know, you're only as free as your knowledge will take you. Simple as that. You don't know the law, then you have no law. Simple as that. Right. That's why people don't teach you anything. They don't teach you anything. You don't know anything. You're no threat. The only threat you are to yourself. And look at that's what's happening here. We have people freaking out on themselves out of ignorance. So, on that note, thank you for letting me run off again. Um, but we have to change things, and we have to look at the entire picture because right now we're being misdirected, you know, um, and we are the results. We are the cause, and our environment is the results of what we do and what we do not do. But we have to get involved, and we have to vote. We have to start taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves, and truly loving ourselves. Not just use the word love. Love yourself means you take care of yourself. Love yourself means you take care of your environment. Loving yourself means you take care of everything around you. Loving yourself means you love this planet that sustains you. You understand? That's true love. You know? So, on that note, people, again, thank you so much for letting me into your home this evening. Have a good night.